Should be live. We should be live right
Live.
now. Yes, we are live, folks. Welcome. Another great show here, show number 9. This is the forecast, no pun intended. And the world is literally blowing apart. The markets are taking a piss, they're taking a shit in their pants, and it's wonderful. I'm here to keep everybody optimistic and positive. You know why? Because out of the ashes will rise the phoenix. And we're going through the burning of the whole entire global bullshit story, and out comes a new story, which is going to be a much more positive one. And if your XRP is in the dumps, you should be celebrating and going out there and buying some more. And blessed these days, because you're never going to get them again, ever again. And it's happening right now as we speak. It doesn't matter. $1.75, it's a fire sale. You got extra money, you got junk in your garage. One man's junk is another man's treasure. Get rid of your junk and turn it into your treasure, called XRP or Bitcoin or whatever floats your boat. I happen to like XRP. A lot of people here do. Today's topic is tariffs. The world's is blowing apart because of the tariffs, because the markets don't know how to react. William McKinley was the guy that had tariffs. And when William McKinley was, in charge of shit, okay, this country was truly the wealthiest country in the nation. All of the smart corporations are coming back. All the smart corporations, let me give you a hint. They're already here. They're ready to manufacture in the United States of America, and they're ready to put America back on track, making it the beacon of hope and the country to copy. You know why? Because we have life extension technology. We're going to have the most amazing corporations. We're going to have people that have a lot of surplus cash in their pockets. They're going to be able to invest in XRP, get positioned for wealth, and we're going to give you the life extension technologies real soon. We're going to live to be 1,000 years old, okay? And everything is going to be wonderful. The future looks great. Guys, welcome to the show.
Great to be here, Mel. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. I just got back from hanging out with one of the most amazing CEOs ever in the nutritional space, a guy by the name of Bill Gould. And I tell you, what an incredible, incredible guy. A company called Equinox. And what an incredible dude. I mean, just literally amazing, amazing stuff. I was able to hang out with Joby Weeks in Colorado, then flew into Dallas. Just amazing, amazing stuff happening all over the place. And I tell you, I've had an incredible, incredible experience just hanging out with Joby Weeks and learning his entire story about how the government really took him for a ride. And I can't even mention his name. His name has now been put into the algorithms, which means we're probably going to be in the shitter as far as viewership today. But I don't really give a shit. So I don't reflect the New World Order, as you know. Let's talk about the tariffs, Mike. I know there's a lot of stuff going on. People are afraid. The markets don't know how to react because it's been 100 years since we had tariffs, and we bring them back because they work. Donald Trump happens to be the most brilliant businessman alive today. He's as good as they get, okay? So let's talk about that. What's front and center on the tariffs on your end?
Well, what completely cracks me up is all of these, Twitter clowns that are all paid bots and stuff that suddenly know more about business and tariffs than the guy who's worth $7 billion, self-made $7 billionaire, Donald Trump. They know more about tariffs than he does. So just listen to them. Tariffs are a tax. Tariffs are terrible. And even people like Robert Fourth Reich, who was the little Lilliputian little tard that was Bill Clinton's economic advisor. Somebody was repeating a post he put out today on Twitter, back in 2020, and it said, the richest 0.1% own 17% of stocks. The richest 1% own 50% of the stocks. And the bottom 50%, that's us, you and me, only own 0.7% of the stocks in the stock market. Repeat after me, the stock market is not the economy. So you know who this is hurting? This is not hurting you. It is not hurting me. Our 401k balances may be a little bit affected temporarily, but who this is hurting, who this is making squeal, are the richest top billionaires that are Democrats anyway, that are supporting their satanic agenda, and they're getting pounded in the ass like they were in a Turkish prison right now. They are losing it. They are taking it, and they are.
Don't take me to a Turkish prison,
Trump
please.
Put it out there with no lubrication. This is hurting them, and for anybody to claim that Trump is trying to help all of his billionaire buddies. It's exactly the opposite of that, because the stock market is a bunch of con men, basically stealing off the wealth and the labor of the working class. That's what the stock market is. Most people aren't really heavily invested in the stock market. If they're smart, they're in gold and silver and XRP and things like that. And XRP, by the way, is $1.90. That's a bargain. Go buy some more. I'm going to go buy some more as soon as the show's
Saw that
over.
today.
So it's a good price, and it's a bargain. So the thing about tariffs is this: there's not very many ways you can respond to a tariff, right? You either give up your own tariffs, which means you have to buy more American goods because American goods come down in price in your country relative to the crap that you're putting out, all the Chinese crap you buy at Walmart. Or you can do something else, Mel. You know what that other thing is you can revalue your currency. So when Donald Trump puts a 43% tariff on all goods from Vietnam, which is every Nike shoe, when Donald Trump puts a 34% tariff on Iraq, what he's doing is applying pressure to them to respond in the only way they can, because they don't really have products. The only way they can respond is to revalue their currencies, which is what we want, which is what everybody who's following the revaluation process wants, and that will set a series of dominoes in motion. I mean, the tariffs themselves were the first domino to fall. Now the market reaction is the second domino to fall. The third domino to fall is going to be one of these countries is going to crack, and they're going to revalue their currency. Trump was, again, I just watched him in the Oval Office before we came on the show. He was talking to the press, and he was saying to people, we're also going to go after the currency manipulators. And when he says that, he means maybe not Iraq specifically, but he means Vietnam. He means China. He means countries that keep their currencies artificially low. So everything he's doing is to force this currency reset, which is the key part of the new financial order that we're all going to be living in 5 or 10 years. So I'm excited. I'm optimistic. I'm just waiting for that other shoe to drop and for Iraq to say, well, we have no choice. The only way to respond to this really is if we revalue our currency. And guess what? It's worth $3.22 or $3.91 or $4.91 or $5.12 or whatever it is.
These tariffs could really play into the reevaluation of all paper currency. And I watched it today. I'm about to put in the chat room, okay, on Rumble. If you're following us on Rumble, it's a good friend of mine, Rob Cunningham. If he says something is powerful, it is powerful. You can take it to the bank. Now, I haven't had a chance to look at it myself. The first hour is nothing but tariffs. And if he puts together an educational piece and it comes from the man himself, Rob Cunningham, you could take it to the bank. And here it is. You guys can research that later. You might want to maybe talk about that short video that I sent you guys earlier in our little group chat. How the guy's basically saying, hey, BMW, IBM, Apple, all the big companies are already entrenched in the United States, ready to bring in employees from the United States, allowing the money to circulate in the United States.
Right.
First time in a long time.
The thing is, Mel, until you talk about the chaos this is creating in financial markets, my response to that is, so what? The only people it's really hurting are the fat cats. Okay, and these are people who are in the stock market. You're leeching off the economy. You are not contributing to the economy. A business owner is not a stock market investor. That's somebody who's just a freaking leech who sits on the sidelines and plays the game like he's in Vegas, where I live, playing blackjack or roulette or something like that. That's how he's making his money. So the financial markets, I hate to agree with Robert Forthreich on anything, but the financial markets are not the economy, and this is not going to hurt the average person. It's going to be short-term anyway. People talk about, we're going to have inflation. Well, guess what? The other thing Trump's talking about is getting rid of the income tax. So the difference between the average American family pays $15,000 a year in income tax. They lose about $7,000 to inflation. On average, the average American family, if they take away the income taxes and institute the tariffs, and we have inflation like we've had the last 4 years, the inflation stays the same, the average American family is still coming out ahead by almost $9,000. So that is the master
And
plan.
today, I don't know if you guys saw, I just sent it to you, Mel. And by the way, guys, I'm in the car. We did a road trip this weekend to a wedding we had in Georgia, and so we're now traveling north, and we're in Philadelphia. So if I cut out, that's why. But I just read that Trump
If you cut out,
also
it's because you got
announced
carjacked.
or I got carjacked, one or the other.
You're in Philly.
However, what I just read is that they're looking at ending capital gains tax. Did anybody pick that up? And that is amazing, right?
Yeah.
Who's that going to really hurt?
Well, there's a lot of uneducated people there that are trying to read the tea leaves, but they're going about it the wrong way. They're listening to Communist News Network. They're listening to Fox, which tells you bullshit news, which the ABC always broadcasting crap. Okay. And so, when you talk to them and they sound like CNN, it's because that's who they're listening to. Right? And they're just regurgitating. They're just a bunch of parakeets who don't stop for 1 second, don't read, and go dig and find out some real shit like we like to dig, right?
Yeah. And I still this weekend I was around some of the nicest, most intelligent people, successful, salt of the earth. No one that worked on Wall Street or in the financial markets, these are millionaires, have no clue about Nasara.
None.
Have no clue about the revaluation, have no clue, so it's all comes down to what we've been talking about, getting these censorship gone because our voices aren't being heard to start getting the word out more and more. But I did tell every single person I met that they have to tune in, because when I use a few buzzwords and they're like, what's that? I'm like, well, I'm not going to start explaining, my head. I'm not going to start explaining it here at a wedding. I'm here to have fun. Follow the follow our podcast. We go live every Monday. So,
I spent the weekend with David Hatcher Childress, of Ancient Aliens. Ancient alien theorists say yes. Ancient astronaut theory. And he doesn't believe any of the currency stuff. And I'm like, okay, don't buy any. That's fine. I'll see you, in a year or so, or 6 months or 5 months or a week. And, it's like, that's not the way it works. The government's not going to give up all their advantages. And I'm like, there are people who should be connected, Laura, who still don't understand this incredible complete shift in humanity's thinking that's going on. And they still are locked into the matrix of everything has to come from the government controllers and the bankers down. And I think we're throwing that out the window.
Yeah. Before I forget, guys, condolences go out to David Straight and his wife. David Straight unfortunately passed away on April Fool's Day. I know a lot of conspiracy theorists are going to call me and say, Mel, he died on April Fool's Day. He's still alive. Okay. And I know you guys are, hey, listen, I believe he's not alive. Okay. And I even hate to go there, but the reality is stop doing that. You know what I mean? Not everybody's still alive. I want to get Laura, because Laura, she basically listens to all of us, and then she looks at the stars and she looks at some numerologies and some tarot cards, and she's going to tell us if we're right on track. Laura, welcome to the show.
Hey, everybody. Great to be here. Yeah, well, listening to everybody and just what all this is about. I mean, I feel like the deeper goal is to bankrupt the deep state. I mean, it is a total shift of power. I think the parasitic part of this system is shifting. I mean, I feel the tariffs are protecting domestic interests in the United States, right? So it's a whole different system. And what I'm seeing in the stars really is the discomfort of all this. So many have been conditioned to hate, Trump, to hate Elon, to show incredible aggression, even though, rewind to Biden's administration, if there was any expression of digging deep into some of the anomalies that were going on in that administration, it was looked down upon and frowned down upon, when it wasn't even anywhere close to the level of violence and retaliation that we see on the other side as we move forward. So the sun and Chiron are conjunct right now in Aries, and the full moon is going to be really enhancing that particular placement with a square to Mars. So it's almost like this violence and eruption is going to grow while things are sort of reworking themselves into a new direction and trajectory when it comes to the financial. Uranus and Taurus. Taurus has to do with abundance and the financial. So, and I think the eventual bankruptcy of the deep state, which is what everybody is so, tied into, that it's almost like the anger is like a withdrawal, while also not seeing how dangerous the substance they've been addicted to actually is. So there's not really a withdrawal. It's just being like yanked away from them. And it's just like, what are you doing? And they don't, seem to realize, that this is a major upgrade, but the upgrade has to be something that we're all participants in. So, the freedom of speech is really important. So as Uranus leaves Taurus, it's going to enter Gemini. Uranus connects with the higher mind. It connects with synchronicities. It connects to just like, downloads and just things that are more connected to cosmic and natural law. So we're seeing a shift that is more based in, something that's sustainable in our, advancing human nature versus something, more parasitic. So the bridge between the two is really igniting some severe aggression and wounds, and very much like in families, because this is lineage stuff being passed down generation to generation. This is what people are carrying in their persona because this is what they were taught. It's not just the school systems. It's like deeply entrenched in, your family, your lineage. And so Mars and Cancer, has to do with that. So I don't know exactly. I've kind of been out of the loop a little bit with what's kind of going on in the world, but I have an important message coming in right now that I'd like to share from the senior advisor to the Earth Alliance, who's definitely trying to get Trump's attention. And he said, China's objected. He taught them how to do that. They're still following his plan. Trump can help, but they won't let me teach him how, not just yet. And basically it's the people that finish the job, and by taking the cartel money away from them. So when we look at, bankrupting the deep state, we're needing to seize the millions of homes that the cartels are using for their money laundering operations, and also just some of these deeper levels, and I think that's also a part of this Uranus Taurus thing, and I guess I'll kind of keep it at that. I don't know if I have too much more to share, just because I'm not quite sure exactly what's going on. I have a few more notes that I've taken recently, but I think that's enough to chew on maybe with the astrological. Just be very careful of some people right now. Like if you notice them getting really triggered, and I think it has to do with the 5G and some of the things that have been infiltrating the consciousness of humans, that the aggression is going to come out of left field. It can be very wounding and injuring. And when you start to notice somebody start to emote and act like they're about to lose their shit, you might want to run for cover.
Well, I totally agree with you. The problem is this, and this is a very easy problem to fix, in my opinion. If you don't know nothing about nothing, and you don't want to learn nothing about nothing, the best thing you could do is say, I don't know, and walk away, smiling. Do it while you're smiling, okay? Because if you try to make an argument about something you know nothing about, and then we call you out because we are schooled, okay? We go to the school of hard knocks, and then we confront you and we make you look like the dumbass that you are, okay? Then it's embarrassing for you. So don't get embarrassed. Just smile, say, I don't know, and walk away. Simple. It's a simple fix.
It's fascinating that you talked about confrontation, Laura, because, Warren Buffett, of all people, went on today and he said, tariffs are an act of war. He's trying to criticize Donald Trump because he's a Demtard. And tariffs are an act of war. So let me understand this straight. When China puts a 234% tariff on our rice and our cars, apparently, because that was the situation before a few days ago, that apparently is not an act of war. But when we put a 50% tariff on their products, that's an act of war. Why is it only an act of war when the United States defends itself and says, no, you're not going to screw us over. We're going to screw you right back. Why is that an act of war? And why is having a system where the money is brought into our country through tariffs, through allowing others to access to our markets and taking the taxation burden completely off the American people, that's an act of war, making other countries pay their own way and giving the American people some relief? That's just absolute insanity. But it shows you that they want a confrontation. They are willing to do anything to stop this new structure that's being put in place by Trump, and they're trying to trying to beat the drums of war and try to start some sort of confrontation. And I do not rule out actual physical fighting wars to do that, because they are so desperate to preserve the old system, which is dead.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, Laura.
Oh, yeah.
I completely agree with you, Mike, but I think it's more than that. And I think there's another whole level to it. It's also about reconfirming to the normies, the people who are not enlightened like us, to keep them in that mindset, that brainwashed position that somebody like Warren Buffett, who people revere him, and he's so brilliant and all this stuff. And I'm not making a comment on whether he is or he isn't, but the point is that many people who don't understand what's going on, they look to someone like Warren Buffett. He's a perfect mouthpiece to be able to make people feel like, once again, anything Trump does is going to hurt us somehow and cause us to get into a situation that's not going to be good.
Yeah, Orange Man bad. And again, it's completely in conflict with what they say. On the one hand, they say, oh, Trump's tax cuts are going to help all of his rich buddies. Well, he's screwing the hell out of his rich buddies with these tariffs, because it's crashing the markets where they have all their money. So which side are, please take a side. Please make an argument that makes sense.
Not hearing him.
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
You talking to me?
No, I just in general agreeing with you and pointing out.
I must be having some trouble. I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, we can hear you fine. We can hear you fine. So anyway, Maureen just said she's in Costa Rica. Hi, Maureen. Hi, Razor. Razor is out in Arizona. My good brother, my good friend. Anyway, she's saying the authorities just taking down one of the largest international child pornography rings ever uncovered right now. Breaking news right this second. Thank you for that, Carol Maureen out of Costa Rica. And we're not sure. She's saying that maybe David Strait did not die on the first, he died on the second. So we're trying to figure that out.
Okay.
So
okay. And I'm sorry, Mel, where was the sex ring? Was that in Arizona, you said?
No, Arizona is where Razor's from. No, I'm not sure. Okay. Carol, where is the sex ring that they just busted? The pornography ring, the largest ever uncovered. Let's see if she responds. There's usually a little bit of a delay, but anyway, needless to say, she'll give us the number. She'll give us the information. But needless to say, look, at the end of the day, Donald Trump has his hands full. There's a lot of big fish to fry, and one fish might be more important than another. Elisa, without mentioning, okay, it said Florida right here, right in my home state. That's where it happened. Yeah, biggest ring in Florida. Thank you, Razor. Thank you, Carol. So the bottom line is that he's got a lot of big fish to fry. But if the people who are in charge of the town square are silencing our fucking microphones, because I mentioned a guy by the name of Joby Weeks that you guys stole billions of dollars from, okay? We cannot win the war, Mr. President. We have to get these things unsilenced. We have to be able to get the right eyeballs. If Mel Carmine's numbers are supposed to be 1 million and Mike Bara's are supposed to be 2 million and Elisa is supposed to be 3 million, allow that to happen so that we can win the war, because then we can get the message out there faster.
Yep.
And we got a plan for that. We're not going to uncover that. Elisa and I know what the plan is. In 8 to 10 weeks or 12 weeks, whenever it's in God's will, okay? It's in God's will. Whenever it's supposed to be, it's going to be the most amazing thing that's going to come out, that's going to shake the United States of America in a way that it's never been shaken before, in Pizza Man style.
I just thought of something else. I saw a little meme or whatever today, and I don't know how old it is because last couple of days I haven't really been following as much as I should. But it's saying now that Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Barack Obama are all in favor of the tariffs. So what that tells me, this is just my own Elisa theory, is that you've got certain people that are part of the PSYOP, or masked versions of them, let's say, who are part of the PSYOP to, let people that maybe think these people are so great, they've been following these Democrats for so long, they vote for them, whatever. Now those people are coming out and saying that they agree with what Donald Trump is doing, right? So now their followers will say, oh, wow, if Chuck Schumer said it, it must be a good thing that I should go along with. But additionally, it's making me think of Warren Buffett, Mike, that maybe, as they usually do at this little war that we're having, maybe they're trying to put him out front and center to look like, somebody who is against Donald Trump, because as we know, Mr. Trump loves to put people out front and center for everybody to, take a look at when he's about to take them down.
Well, the thing is too, is Warren Buffett, he has no business. He doesn't produce anything. All he does is make money on the stock market. So his entire wealth, his entire identity is tied up in the stock market. And let's face it, the stock market, it should not have been at 43,000. That is a ridiculous overvaluation given the state of the U.S. economy in the last 5 to 6 years. So it should probably be at about 20,000. It's been pumped up by all this money that they've printed and flooded in to that and flooded into the silver markets to keep the price of silver down, and gold, they're down a little bit. So, again, he's bitching. He's squealing like a stuck pig because all of his money's in the stock market. And if the stock market is suddenly devalued to where it should be, relative to other commodities and things like that, then, hey, guess what? Who's that going to hurt, Warren? It's going to hurt you, and you're going to lose your guru status and your identity and all that other stuff. So, of course, there's a personal aspect to this, Elisa, that can't be overstated. And I don't give a shiz if Warren Buffett loses his shirt. In fact, I'd laugh my ass off. But that's not going to happen. But it's not like Elon. Elon's companies produce stuff. They build rockets. They build cars. What does this guy do? All he does is bet on the stock market.
It's a Ponzi scheme.
Yep.
He's a glorified legal Ponzi scheme with a license, sort of like Elisa's drug dealer boyfriend, who is a legal drug dealer because he has a license to be a pharmacist.
That's right.
In a pharmaceutical, in a zombie-like state of mind, and the pharmaceutical industry says this is okay because he's got a license.
Can you get me some lewds, dude?
Put him on camera.
I'll let you ask him.
Put your boyfriend on camera real quick. Say hello to George, everybody. Isn't that's one handsome Cuban guy? That's one handsome Cuban guy. I can't wait to meet you, bro.
Same here, Mel. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Glad you got over your shyness problem.
Before we know it, we're going to put a microphone in his mouth, and he's going to be a podcaster too. I'm going to recruit everybody to be a podcaster.
So
yeah. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. Go ahead, Frank. Go ahead.
George.
Oh no. I try to disguise myself as like a user, not a dealer. Because the minute people find out what I do, I get 20 inquiries for illegal substances.
Never use your own supply. I will say this. I have a question. You're a pharmacist. Why is red wine and Vicodin such a happy little high? It's one of my favorites. I don't know why, but man, is it fun.
Vicodin, in New York anyway, they really put control on it. So it rarely goes out.
Wow.
So all they have to do is classify it as what they call a Schedule 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then they don't prescribe it anymore. Mm-hmm. That's a simple thing. The Schedule 2s you want to do as little as possible because they're so addictive.
Yeah.
The morphines, the hydrocodones, the fentanyl. Fentanyl's a disgrace. I don't know why it's on the market.
Yeah.
I do have one patient. He's advanced cancer. So he's on it. But that's it.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, like I said, less is more with medicine.
Yep. Laura, I wanted to ask you a question, like looking at Buffett and his identity and all that stuff. Are we facing a situation where it feels like there are so many celebrities and so many people are so uncomfortable because as the vibration of the planet starts to increase, right? I feel like they're going to lose that which they're known for. I mean, what will Al Gore do when everybody says, well, the planet's doing just fine? It's like the weather is exactly the same as it was 60 years ago, and it's cyclical. And so do you feel like that a lot of prominent people are on the brink of losing their identity and losing their place in society, and therefore that's why they're lashing out so angrily?
That's so beautifully put. That's exactly what the astrological climate is showing, with the sun conjunct Chiron square Mars. I mean, this is like the major identity crisis of like humanity. And the thing is, those that know who they are, those that aren't struggling with an identity crisis, they're on a healing path. They're recovering from the system, because Chiron squaring is either like this loss of self, this injury to your ego identity, or the acknowledgement of a wound and moving forward on the healing path, which a lot of us have already been venturing down. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be, crazy. And we're seeing it, particularly with a lot of what Diddy's victims are exposing. It's just the identity of, so many individuals along with their narratives, particularly, right, are beginning to die down. So I think we're going to see they aren't around very much anymore. They have a body double to make it look like they're still around, and they're accepting of things. And it's just like, oh yeah, we're doing great. And they're actually not. They're like some island.
Yeah. Like, what about all these celebrities? What about all these celebrities that are leaving the country? I put it out there that, look, every single celebrity that's leaving the country has done something really terrible. And that's why they're leaving, hoping to be protected by the more socialist government, deep state governments of these other countries. So do you see that trend continue? And am I right? Are these people really trying to run from the
yeah. Law? I mean, I think you can run, but you can't hide. I mean, as far as like, are there going to be tribunals? Are we going to see things come to justice? I mean, I think there are going to be the key players, like we're already noticing, put away. But these are just surface key players. As far as the deeper levels and layers of all of this, how much is that going to come to the surface? I think is a gradual thing, because we want to go into the roots of it all, right? What made these individuals the individuals that they are? Are we going to, begin to understand that on a more mainstream level? Now we're hearing more about like the chemtrails and the geoengineering in a public way.
Right.
Are we going to get to the deeper, layers and levels? And it's already the door is already open, and you can't really shut it because it's so explosive that it's like you can try and put a lid on it, but once you got a few people out there talking and other people feel encouraged and inspired by that, it starts to ripple out, and it's like wildfire. Then other people feel like, I can tell my story, I can share this, and so they're going down. It's all going down. So it's more than an identity crisis. They're running for their lives, but all the individuals that bought into the narratives, they're the ones that are going violent and crazy because they're losing their identity to the things that they consumed and supported and became a label or a supporter of. That and that's the thing. The programming is the identity crisis that humans are facing.
Right. If those things get exposed as frauds, if the whole climate change thing turns out to be BS and they expose that in a public way, well, then Greta Thunberg doesn't have a platform anymore, and she's not an important person, and Al Gore's not. So, I mean, I think, and that's just one example, but there's, as other truths come out, I think more and more people who have had their identities attached to a certain narrative on those are just, they're going to lose their shiz.
It's a domino effect of total identity crises. And it's either you're going to go into a crisis and go crazy and like lash out at everybody, or get yourself into, trouble, or you're going to get on a healing path and freaking awaken and get a clue. And the ones that are the public figures, they're going to either have to say, look, I was a victim. I was MK Ultra. I was an SRA. I was pushed into this. I was compromised and I need to heal. Or, it's like they're going to run or they're going to be arrested. I mean,
So let me ask you one of the questions since I got it's free psychic reading time with Laura. I've got Laura here and I've got her attention, right? And I can ask her anything. I've spent most of the weekend talking about the Kennedy assassination. That was my main thing at the alien event in LA. And one of the things that I've talked about, the new documents release, which we touched on a little bit last week. So I want to ask you spiritually, emotionally, in terms of astrologically, is there really any truth in this new stuff, or is this simply another layer of the cover up? Are they simply adding a little more to the cover up to try to stop the prying in the investigation? Because that's my distinct impression, is that this is just pivoting to a slightly new narrative that's still a cover up of the truth, which I think Kennedy's assassination had everything to do with aliens and the moon and ancient alien technology on the moon and that kind of thing. Am I crazy in thinking that, or do you feel like that's strong?
No, I think because of the compartmentalism, the doorways, it's like the doorways are being knocked on to be opened so that everything is out in the open. The compartmentalism, it's been everything, the top levels of top secret information above the president. The enormity of the military industrial complex, the interplanetary corporate conglomerate, the secret space programs. I mean, it's just like so multi-leveled and so multi-layered that the disclosure or whatever's being released has to come along with the experts and the voices and the authors like yourself, Mike, who should be given a platform. Like, okay, here we've released this, but Mike Bara wrote a book about this. What does he have to say? This is the kind of world we need to be in. We need to pass the microphone to people that have dedicated their lives to exploring these deeper truths.
Instead of Oliver Stone going in front of the committee last week and repeating the same old BS. Some of it's true, but a lot of it's just BS from 1996 when he made the movie JFK. Half the stuff in that movie is completely wrong. He's just, and I'm like, oh, so we're back now to having him testify in front of Congress. And it's like, oh my God, you're only going to get halfway there.
Yeah, and that's what I'm afraid of, is just like, these are just the chosen people that are going to be presenting this particular disclosure or this particular
layer. It's like another.
What about
layer?
all the other ones?
Okay, well, we can't defend this line anymore, so we're going to fall back to this line, and now we're gonna hold that line, and that's what they think. But I believe the attack just accelerates, and eventually there's a breakthrough. We haven't had the breakthrough yet.
Yeah, there's got to be a breakthrough, and I think that's what that's what our work has been all about, and our colleagues and friends. It's like, we all need to be called upon. We've been in this field for so long, and we're not just here to like watch and hear what they have to say to the American people and to the world. They need to call in.
We're here to blitzkrieg the defenses and get to the truth, and break through to the truth. That's what I want to do.
Talk to all the people that have been doing this work for a long time too. That's what I say.
Yeah, but they're not going to give them a platform. Like Mike, you just asked a question, but you just answered your own question. If part of the reason, or most of the reason, that the Kennedy assassination happened has to do with his, having to do with ancient alien technology, and that's, going to the moon and making it a collaborative thing with the Russians, right? And that's not coming out, then yes, they're still layering on top of the BS. And if they're still getting Oliver Stone to come in, right, which we know any script like that that's in Hollywood is not just getting made, it's getting reviewed and overseen and approved by the CIA and the powers that be.
Exactly.
So until they're able to people are able to handle the truth across the board, namely with everything having to do with our galactic history and all of that, it's not going to come out.
Well, they're doing the same thing to Eisenhower. They're probably going to put a movie out saying he signed a treaty with the Greys, which he didn't. MJ-12 did. Are they going to be looking to me to have an expert opinion and all my research and all the whistleblowers that I know?
Laura, do you think that they are actively suppressing people that want to get to the truth, or is it that they just don't know we're out here, or they know? I think they know we're out there. I think this administration is still contending with, this deep state swamp. Yeah. There's still threats. They threw people out of windows and murdered you and blah, 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 in the 50s and 60s. And I mean, there's been all sorts of tactics to keep this information. So it's not just like, oh, now it's time. We have to like chisel it down and be relentless, and watch our backs.
and help the Trump administration by, being a voice. So the people in the audience have to help as well by spreading this information, because we're out there, we're on the internet. We might not have our YouTube channels anymore, but we're on Twitter, we're on these, different platforms.
Rumble.
We need more visibility. It has to be a part of the greater conversation. So the people are the ones that are determining how much are you hooked into the deep state narratives, how much are you supporting the people that are bringing information that is that is absolutely different than that shows deeper layers that are not being communicated. Can the people participate a little bit more and help to amplify those platforms? Can different people that have connections that might meet him at a party, can they help connect some of us? I mean, that's the way it's going to happen, because the governmental structure really has to collapse. What needs to rise is all the different missions and all the researchers and all the callings that people have that they've dedicated their lives to. It's never meant to be just the chosen ones that are up there on stage. There are always going to be a steered narrative that way. So the people have to be willing to assist us in getting the word out. And then with that, they're not going to be supporting those individuals that are steering the narratives. And then, that's where the shift is going to happen. It's up to us.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I think that the Trump people are grappling with, how do we tell people the truth when, if we do tell them the complete truth, they will lose all trust in any kind of government at all. And we have to have, or at least they feel, we have to have some kind of government to defend our people, to defend our borders. So they're grappling with how do we release this?
Yeah,
and still have a government. Well, I say get rid of it all overnight. Get rid of FBI. Get rid of all these extra constitutional organizations, FBI, IRS. Just get rid of them. Let's replace them with something better, and we'll decide.
Well, there's certain things that definitely have to be removed, and there's in replacement of that, can we fund things that will help to rehabilitate, to assist the problems that we currently have? I mean, it's creating a different governmental structure, not so drastic, that it harms a lot of people in their way of life, even though that's already happening. But I mean, how can this shift of power happen without the parasitic false narratives that are exploiting the vulnerable humans that haven't been educated to know how much more capable we are, and all the resources that are available that have been hoarded by the elites.
Absolutely. Okay. That's why we need to get our microphones back. If you got, 10,000, for example, truth podcasters out there, and collectively we're bigger than mainstream media, but we're only limited to 1,000 views on average per video. But we're really, the real number should be 100,000 or 500,000 or a million. Exactly. If we could take all of those speed bumps out of the road to allow us to go as fast as we can go without, breaking any real rules, as long as we're not threatening anybody. It's like, hey, I'm going to kill so-and-so. Okay, yeah, shut that guy down, right? If someone's making death threats, right? But it's not that extreme. We're talking about getting the truth out. By the way, just before I forget, just gave my good friend Rob Cunningham some kudos for sending me that link, which is right down below. There's his link right there, The Cool Show. You might want to go follow him on X. My link is right down below. In the middle, you have the actual story about the tariffs. He says it's absolutely epic. You might want to go look at that. I'm going to go look at that later. I just trust his judgment. But let's get back on track here. So the thing is, I'm not going to tell you what it is. I mean, I already told you too much. But we're doing something. We're going to be doing something about it. This is the most powerful tool in the world. It's not a gun. It's not a machine gun. It's a microphone. Okay. But the microphone has to be able to reach people. Our shows have to be able to reach the right amount of people. Okay. We want the numbers to be what the numbers are supposed to be. We want a level playing field. And as long as we get a level playing field, Mel Carmine and Elisa Valentino can attest to this, and so can Mike Bara. We've had people that came to the Quantum Summit Part 2, okay, and Part 1. Okay, unfortunately, General Tata wasn't at the part 2, but we have people that are right in the administration. You understand? You feel me? So if we want to get a message to Donald Trump, rest assured we can and we will.
Okay, get me in front of the Kennedy Assassinations Committee.
That too.
Get me in front of the UFO community. Get
Yeah,
me in front
too.
of
I'll take on the.
Yeah.
I got a few things.
Yeah, you too. Get Laura out of there too. So yeah. Yeah, I know. It's like oh, well, you have to figure out how to beat the algorithm. Why? There shouldn't be any algorithm. The only algorithm should be what people are drawn to. That should be the algorithm.
My argument is very simple. Okay, you are a corporation, whether you're a social media platform, whatever, whether it's called YouTube or Instagram or Facebook, it don't matter. If you want to operate under the Constitution of America, not the corporation, but the actual Constitution of America, the Republic of the United States of America, you have to abide by the Republic's rules. And if you can't do that, then we're just going to put our rules in place. And, hey, you're either going to get rid of all the speed bumps immediately and effectively right now, or this is what's going to happen. We're going to give you a week to put the algorithms back the way they're supposed to be. 1 week, you don't comply, $1 billion fine. Second week, you don't comply, $2 billion fine. Third week, you don't comply, $3 billion fine. Fourth week, we own your ass. Period. The government comes in, puts in some patriot programmers, puts everything on a level playing field. And if Mel Carmine is allowed to be 1 million people subscribers, then I'm okay with that number. If Mike is supposed to be 2 million, he's okay with that number. But let the numbers be what the numbers got to be.
Yeah, and I think Eisenhower played a really important role. I mean, he set up the White Hats, the Earth Alliance, and connected with Val Thor and petitioned to the Guardians. And I have a deep, deep connection with that mission. And Kennedy, Eisenhower, and the Trump connection is really strong. There has to be somebody that these families should be talking to each other. And the thing is, these are the ones that are for the people, because it's not about the presidents. It's about the people. And so I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, you notice our numbers dwindled down because we mentioned the forbidden name now. The new forbidden name on the algorithms is Joby Weeks. Last week, we had 619 people watching us live just on my channel. This week, because I mentioned Joby Weeks, which is a forbidden name to even put in print or in the title or even say the name, okay? And the algorithms say only 140 people. How can we go from 619 watching us live last week to 140 this week?
Because we don't suck, too. I mean, it's not like we suck. So, yeah, they would stay with us, I would think.
Right. Okay. How does that happen? That happens because they're not allowing us to, and I'm talking about Rumble. I'm not even talking about YouTube.
Yeah, I get it's the drastic change. All my platforms gone. It's like I do anything, I barely scratch a certain amount. And I got a lot of haters all of a sudden. I don't know. It's like,
yeah, they're mostly bots, right?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, I think that's going to shift. I think that's going to shift.
Well, look, collectively, like I said earlier, if we have 10,000 hardcore truth, truthers that have a microphone, and we're only allowed to get an average of 1,000 or 2,000, views each on average, just average it out, right? But the real numbers are 100,000. Can you imagine how many more people we could reach, or 1 million? The average numbers are 500,000. So this becomes the biggest, most important weapon. This, Mr. Trump, is the biggest fish to fry. If you want to win this war, and I know you're a wartime strategist, this is a war. We're in an information war, and the enemy knows it. The enemy owns the platform that we're trying to get the message out to people. And if you can get these lubricated, okay, if you can sort of unclog the pipes, then we can go a lot faster. And then we can win the war because why? Because the message is out. You see, collectively, we're kicking their ass. Collectively, because there's more of us on the battlefield than them. But individually, we suck wind. Because when I look at my numbers and I say, shit, that video, that incredible video only got 1,800 views. And I know it's supposed to be a lot bigger. Not because I'm this big guy and I need to have a big number. No, we are in a fucking war.
Exactly. Yeah, this is not about, when I talk about numbers and I talk about my channels, it's not about me. It's about getting the message out. It's about being of service to humanity and having really important messages that need to be shared. You could take me off the screen and my name. I just want the message out there. It's just,
Yeah, exactly my point. Can anybody rebuttal me? Can anybody argue me? Can anybody disagree with me?
no.
No, I don't. I never would.
Agree.
No, it's very frustrating, just feeling like you can't reach people anymore. And that's how I feel. It's like
I'm not going to tell you what we're doing. I'm not going to tell you what we're doing.
In the background.
Elisa is part of my little niche, little clique, and there's a couple of people that are involved with this. And I'm going to tell you, we are going to cause earthquakes at the White House.
Good. Let's do that.
Gabish.
Good.
All right. We're gonna do this Brooklyn style.
Yeah. Don't forget me.
Yes, you're involved.
I would think an Eisenhower would be able to get into the White House fairly easily.
I spent a lot of time at the White House.
Yeah, I would think you.
My mom used to live there.
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
Wow.
So,
I never thought about that.
Discuss any other subjects that are front and center, that are hot topics that we need to discuss right now. Otherwise, we'll go maybe another 5-10 minutes, and we'll cut the show right there and let it do what it's supposed to do until, in 12 weeks from now, when you realize that there's a new fucking general on the battlefield. We don't know how to react to this one. You'll understand. See, I'm not going to tell you what my plans are, but I'm telling you, I'm coming for you. You just don't know my plan, and you don't know how I'm coming. So when you feel something burning in your ass like a jalapeno pepper, okay, followed by a fucking M80, okay, you'll know it's Mel Carmine.
So, Mel, a couple of things I thought just worth mentioning again, that we're in the planning stages for Quantum Summit 3, right? There's still a lot of balls up in the air about where it's going to be, but going to have some amazing additions to the roster that we had this time, right? So that's all happening. Mm-hmm. Everybody should start thinking and planning that, maybe April of next year, they put it on their radar.
Most likely April, of next year. That's likely, or May. It could be, a month before, a month after. Give a month wiggle room on both ends. Yes.
Yeah. So I just want to keep that top of mind for everyone.
Yeah. And Joby Week is going to have his ankle bracelet off, hopefully real soon. And he's told me he's going to be at the Quantum Summit, guaranteed.
I still think we need one in the fall here in Vegas. I really do. Do. Of course, if the RV happens, Mel, I'll finance the whole thing. We'll just borrow the name. You'll be part of it for everybody here, and I'll take all the risk on it. So
I love it.
We'll call it a Quantum Summit.
Yes.
The thing about the Quantum Summit brand, Mel, is that you have everything. You have the health, you have the aliens, you have the financial stuff. So it's a catch-all thing. Better than the Conscious Life Expo, which is all a bunch of stupid hippie crap, right?
You're not trying to say it's not boring. Are you trying to say it's not boring?
It's not dull. And the other thing too is the one thing that could make Quantum Summits better would be if Mel picked up his energy a bit. He just doesn't. He's a little mellow. He's like, I took one of those CBD gummies, and I just feel really peaceful and happy with everybody right now. No, Mel's not like that guy.
Yeah, you can tranquilize me with elephant tranquilizer. Believe me.
So I'm looking forward to all this stuff.
Absolutely. Well, sounds good, guys. I think we got a good show. It was good. Tariffs are front and center. Yes, the stock market's reacting. Yes, the crypto market's reacting. Yes, everything looks like it's crashing and burning. But a smart man will investigate what a fool takes for granted. And you're going to go do your homework, and the smart guy is going to say, this is a fire sale. This movie's not over yet. The movie ends like this, like this, like this, because you're able to see the future. Because why? Because you're a learned person. See?
Mel, you're going to put the, I know you put it in the chat, but you're going to also put Rob Cunningham's.
Oh, what happened to her? She's not there anymore.
No.
The aliens must have abducted her.
Well, one thing I wanted to say real quick, Mel, is to remember the economic collapse and all this stuff that they're talking about. It sounds scary, but it's only on your phones. It's only on your TV. Is it happening in your real life? If the answer to that is no, then relax, breathe, and let all this stuff play out. Don't get overexcited about any of it. I think a lot of this is planned. Trump did not go into this tariffs plan with the idea of ruining people, the American people. He doesn't do that. He firmly believes in us and believes in our country. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the war, whether it's a real war or whether it's an economic war. It's just
I agree. I'm sure Elisa is going to come right back.
And remember to win the war within yourself, because it's a war on consciousness. Unhook from those parasitic deep state players that, I don't know, you're probably not even listening, the ones that need to do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not our audience.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, look, at the end of the day, there is a financial shift coming. There is a technology shift coming. The people who can see the future are not going to be shocked. They're not going to short circuit when the time comes. They're going to be able to react just fine. It's the people who refuse to learn. And it's not that they refuse. I feel sorry for a lot of them. I really do. And I don't feel sorry for them because they're dumber than me. Just haven't put a plan of action together. See, if someone's trying to kill me, I want to know how it is that you're killing me, right? So that I can try and figure out how I can defend myself a little bit, right? So we were able to get rid of the glyphosates and get rid of all the chemicals that are clouding our thinking so that we can make the right decisions. These people have not. They think that the state loves them. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Really? Okay. And so they have, they're poisoned with the fluoride and the glyphosates and the Roundup and the bullshit and the fucking stuff that I can't even get away from, this chemtrails. Mr. RFK, where the fuck are you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's get him on that.
Yeah. And more arrests, please.
Yes. We're ready for the arrests. I don't give a shit if you got to bring in the Army, the Navy, the fucking Marines. Let's get it over with, dude. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, until they start seeing perp walks, people don't get it.
Yeah. I think that's what people want to hear. Maybe the numbers are going to start to. They want to hear that there's going to be arrest. Absolutely. There's going to be people that are sitting by, they're sleeping with a gun, loaded gun, cocked, locked, and ready to rock right next to their bed. And that's not to fight the guys who are going to come to arrest them. That's to just blow their fucking brains out. Don't worry about it. If you make a mess, we got the cleanup crews ready to go. We'll vacuum the brains up and all the brain matter and all the bone fragments, all of it. And we'll make it look like nothing ever happened. So go ahead and do us all a favor and take your fucking life and get the fuck out of our balls.
Wow. Okay, let's end on that note, Mel.
I like that. I like
that.
that.
Strong enough?
Oh my God. Oh man.
Yeah, because we're coming for you. See, there's more of us. There's more for every one of you. There's 100,000 guys that feel exactly the way I feel, but they won't say it. I'll say it for them. And they say, yeah, Mel, keep going, dude. That's exactly how we feel. That's why I say we should be, millions of people watching. You think we're fucking stupid? We were born at night, not last night. We're going to win this fucking war. I'm pissed. And I'm
with
doing
you
something about it.
Wow. I love it.
Yeah. Guys, we'll catch you on the next one. I love you guys. Hey, don't forget, Mike, 4:00 sharp, please. Por favor.
Dude, I was here at like
No me
101.
piace.
It was like 4:01. I had to get my hat on. Okay,
you know what no me piace means?
Yeah.
No me piace. I don't like it when you're late. You got to be on time.
All right.
Bye, guys.
I was like
Thank
1
you.
minute late now.
That was awesome.
Okay, let me exit here and
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, thank you guys. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.
All right, we're out. See you, Lisa.